So sorry guys, been a while between videos. This one's a bit of a boring one. It's just suspension and I didn't really set out to make the video properly, but watch to the end. We build all the suspension, go out and test it a little bit, and yeah, you'll see what I reckon at the end of it. So all this has to go in there today and tomorrow, and my one helper isn't much help. So yeah, doing all the conversions, 410 diffs. I'll go over everything as I install it rather than now, but there's a lot. There's modified cradles, arms, 410 diffs, LSD, Lokka, big wheels. Not doing that this weekend. So the VAR and the spring away, they're still, yeah, I don't think I'll get time to start cutting up the car this weekend, but all this stuff's going in. So jumping forward, the old cradle's out. So we're not using the cradle, not using the arms. The only thing I'm pulling out first is the springs. I want the springs still, and probably the spring seats, and I'll pull the drive shafts and hubs off. So time's ticking down, and it's getting to the afternoon, but that's the cradle sort of redone. Now, custom arms, you can see the lower control arms, they come along, then they've made them step down. So the reason for that is it's going to keep that arm level, instead of when you lift the territory, those arms end up on a big rake. And I used to hit them on the SX. I actually damaged one the other day, and yeah, this is my idea, to bring them back up and keep better clearance, but also get rid of all the need for the spring spaces. So I still run raised king springs, but hopefully I can just run it with normal thing spring seats. So yeah, lower control arms are custom. I still haven't got the springs in there because I still want to check the travel, because it does get close to the boot. I don't want it to foul, so I've got to check they actually work yet. Upper camber arms, of course, they're my adjustable ones. The toe arms, the Fabhouse ones, they actually look quite good. And I notched the bottom of the cradle for the toe arms. I didn't mention that when I was talking about the cradle, but I don't know if I would have had to because of the design of these ones, but anyway, that's done just in case. Going to be heaps of travel. The other thing I haven't bolted on there yet is the blade arms, so I'll quickly say about them. So I used to snap them here. So what I've done is I've plated them with 3mm steel. So hopefully that keeps them a lot more, I don't know what you want to call them, gives them a lot more strength so they don't snap across there. But we'll see. Blade arms are still, that could be a fix. We'll wait and see. Custom never goes to plan normally. You can see there, I'm touching the boot. Oh, that's a lot. It travels up. Plenty of travel, like bump stops. Bump stop will stop at about there. But then you can see, you got travel down, gets close. But then if I push, like you think the weight of the wheel and everything moving, just touches. So that, and looking at this now, thinking about adding some reinforcement down like that. Got room on the inside to do that. I'm gonna have to cut like an angle triangle out of that back as far as I can. So I realised yesterday that the GoPro mic sucks, listening back to some of the stuff I've done, but yeah, I apologise for the crappy audio if I do play it, but to quickly run back through it, I started installing, move this mic, started installing all the cradle. It's in. I had to modify the lower arms because they fouled on the CBs down here, so I don't know if you can see it. I had to sort of slice them a little. But the rear's done and it rakes down a lot. Remembering the front's lifted 30mm and it's got the 245 65 tyres, so it is bigger than factory. I'm worried the front stuff, so like the front cradle I've dropped 10mm, and I've got SZ forks that I've modified again to be taller to bring the shock up higher, so hopefully it clears the body where it was rubbing. And then I was just going to go a 35mm strut top spacer, and I didn't really want to go too much more lift in the front because I don't want to screw the CV angles up. Like, they already bind up as it is on the other car, So yeah, I don't know if I drop the cradle some more, if the lift doesn't match, or if I modify these rear arms. But these rear arms, I've done them because of the clearance. Like, the clearance is so much better. So instead of them coming down on that massive angle, they're pretty much level. Like, they're not completely level, but they're a hell of a lot better than they were. And if you didn't, they'd be down like here. And the problem I found was when I was off-road and like the bigger tyre 4 drives would leave those ruts, and I had plenty of diff clearance, but these arms would rub, like they'd scrape along the edge of the ruts or whatever you want to call them, yeah. So that was the idea of lifting these arms up, was to get that clearance, and I definitely have. And of course I beefed them up because they didn't quite work, but that's solid as now, and they clear everything. But yeah, I don't really want to, like, if I was to modify, I'd have to bring that up more, and then these are going to be down more, so I sort of lose that advantage. So could be modify the front out with the old. Getting that out was the easy part in the way. I got to pull the power steering rack out, got to pull the suspension off that side, got to change the rack ends because we're going to these ones. So they're RTV rack end, and the tie rod end just a universal, like, I can't remember where I got that from. I'm hoping they're going to go there. Flip to the top side, so I'm going to drill them out, take a 14mm bolt. Yeah, drilling them out 14mm, it's not too bad. If it doesn't work, I can still change it back, because I don't know if these are going to be quite long enough. We'll see. What else we got to do? There's a motor's just hanging around. Strip the suspension off that side. Going to use the same CVs. Going to put my forks. Diff. Yeah, I've got to build it all into this one yet. Yeah, I've got to pull the shocks out, rotate them for the top spacers and RTV mounts. So these are from an RTV Falcon as well, and they replace that one, so they mount down a lot lower. So hopefully because of that, it'll bring that arm back level. Hopefully. Soon find out. Welcome back to the pigsty. We're on day 3 now. So I got the cradle back in, the diffs in, power steering rack's in, the new steering racks arms are there. I've done the RTV mounts up the top with that control arm, and I've just twisted the shock to fit the strut top on, and then I'm going to throw that in, throw the rest of the SY2 stuff back in, and then I'll throw my forks in and repeat the same on the other side. We're playing around with transfers, changing the flange, changing it over so we can do the 4-speed diffs. You got to change that flange. And I found this guy. Flew all the way up from friggin' Melbourne.
Of course.
And it's getting there. Like it's
tall.
It's tall. That's it sitting on the ground too. I know. Yeah. Yeah. He hadn't seen it. And he said it's tall.
I was taken back for sure.
So I left the battery on last night. It got flat, so I haven't started it yet. But yeah, still got no transfer case in it. Let the glue dry. Gotta fill that back up with oil. Throw it under. And that's going to be the end of the day. Oh, we've got some pretty shiny things in there. Some new shocks. Big ones, big remote res. Don't ask how much they cost. So it's now day 3.5. And while I got this wheel off, I'm going to show you everything under this, because the video up until now has probably been a bit all over the place. So I'll start at the front of it. Just got standard blade arms with polypro bushes, and they've been plated with 3mm steel to thicken them up so they don't snap along here. I got Fabhouse adjustable tow arms. They're quite nice and very easy to use. Then the camber arms are my ones, my adjustable ones. We got Superior Engineering remote res shocks. So of course I had to modify a mount for the top and modify sleeves and stuff for the bottom. Then remote res, we mounted up the back here. Following on from that, you got GSP CV shafts, cheap bump stops, which I cut one off just to make them travel a little bit higher up. Then my lower arms, now these things work out perfectly. I had to do a few mods, but they come along and they just level out the ride so much better and they work perfect. So yeah, they're a one-off and they give a lot of lift too. The cradle itself, you can see here, it's been dropped 20 mil there. And to do that and not cut the factory studs, I notched out the cradle and welded thick plate on top. So that's all it is. The cradle's obviously modified, so there's no sway bar. Sway bar mount's been cut out. The rear mounts here have been reinforced with extra steel because they were rounding out in the other one. Super Pro bushes, just the SX one in the rear, and then the front are hybrids. What else have I done to the cradle? Oh, obviously cut off the spare wheel mount and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much the back on Lokka diff, 4:10 ratio. And a raised king spring, Northern standard spring seats. Yeah, brakes are Bendix Ultimate stuff. Safe brakes braided lines, which I couldn't mount in there because on full travel it's too long, so I had to delete the mid mount. And pretty much that's your rear end done. Doesn't sound like much when you say it like that, but holy words I shouldn't say, took me a very long time to fit and build and modify and change. I had to change the arms because they rubbed on the CV, so I had to notch out a few things and sort of make it up as I go. I still actually got to drop the blade arm mount, so I've got to make it so the blade arm drops down just to twist that suspension back. If you see, yeah, like twist it back into proper orientation, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'll do the front next because we've got to pull that wheel off. I've got to put the small wheels back on because we're not going to have time to do the flares this weekend. So flares, the bull bar, the sill protectors that I'm going to make, winch, cradle, all that sort of stuff. I'll do that in another video. This is just the suspension side of it now. And yeah, I'll go over the front quickly in a second. We have, so you got just Gabriel shocks, standard springs, 35mm strut top spacer. You got an arm, it's got Super Pro bushes and KYB ball joint. I've got RTV, you're not going to really see it in this light, but they're RTV Falcon upper mounts. So they're a lot lower and they keep the arm, yeah, there you go, Den's got some light. So they keep the arm lower and more level once the wheel's on and all that. Down the bottom you got like, I've got a custom SZ fork, so it's an SZ fork, and then it's got another bit of fork welded to the top to make it longer. You got Polypro lower control arms, SY2 obviously, SY2 knuckle, upgraded brakes again. I got, so this side, actually I need to wound those out and lock them off yet. It's an RTV rack end and it's just a universal type tie rod end, and it's flipped, so your original tie rod ends go up in here, but that puts such an angle on your steering that you get a lot of bumps there, so I'll flip them to the top. With that set up, got Polypro bushes in the diff and Super Pro on the right hand side. I was going to use Super Pro, but I thought I had some and I didn't in the end, so I had Polypro ones there that went in. Safe brakes extended lines again. The front cradle has been dropped 10mm. You can sort of see it in there. So I dropped the front cradle 10mm just to try and bring some CV angles back in. Front diffs in LSD, 410 again obviously. And I think that pretty much sums up the front. It's just got cheap eBay CVs, nothing flash. Yeah, that's the front. Oh, I reinforced a couple of other little, and the toe points on the front here of the cradle, I cut them off because I always found they got dug into the dirt and were a pain in the ass, so they come off. And that's the front suspension. Again, sounds simple, but it definitely isn't. But we're gonna put the small wheels back on for now. It looks funny with the small wheels. If you come around this side, you got a massive amount of clearance. So yeah, the small wheels just look funny, but I can't be bothered cutting all the fenders and all that sort of stuff. I just want to go check that it all works now. Maybe do a quick run up Glasshouse if the wheel alignment's not too bad. And we're not doing canyon track.
Yeah.
And yeah, and see how that goes.
Want to go as slow as possible too. It's sort of on and off, like a wheel lifts and then the other it spins but with this wheel. So the LSD is definitely kicking in.
Yeah, okay.
So
It feels like it's trying to pull up
Yeah.
the front.
oh,
Oh, we'll go that other spot.
okay. It definitely slows it down. Turn the throttle controller down. That LSD's not kicking in.
This side was spinning there.
That LSD wasn't kicking in. Nah. Go back.
Were they both going?
Where the yeah, they're both spinning, but one's spinning faster than the other.
Yeah.
So that LSD's not quite.
That's what I think. The biggest problem with LSD, that's why I don't want one in the back, is when they load up, they slip.
Yeah.
So it is given an advantage, but it's not a major one.
Yeah, that's it. It's just sitting. So where it was just sitting on the like bottom of the cradle. So if you give it just a little bit, it'll just pop it up
What if I go
faster.
that way, touch it?
Could. Yeah. Yep. It's gonna drop down. Now, give it a bump. But just come this way. Go for it. It'll be fine.
Hey, every other four-wheel drive channel packs.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a four-wheel drive, is it?
worried. The 33s will make a massive difference.
Oh yeah.
That didn't go over 1500 RPM.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it's getting dark. Got to play around with it. I'll wait until I watch the videos to see what I think about that LSD. It seems like it does something, but it's still that typical LSD, I think, which is why I didn't want to go with it in the rear, because you load it up and it slips. But it is, you give it a few revs, it will get both wheels spinning, so it is making a difference. The other suspension and stuff, that seems alright, other than the wheel alignment, as I said, shocking. The front tyres are bald. I didn't drop pressures, so there's all that. But this video was just the suspension, again, that sort of stuff sorted. Next will be wheel alignment, and we'll come back, test that again, then I'll go back and probably get the alignment checked again to make sure everything is staying where it's meant to stay. And yeah, then the next video we'll do all the body work, so flares, the rear bar, the front bar, winch, flares, big wheels, and then we've got to do the snorkel as well. And then it's just a few other little things and we're ready for Cape York, hopefully. Probably a bit more waterproofing. So I done that quick last summary, and it was getting dark, so we didn't film anything, and we drove out. There's a couple of steep hills on the way out, nothing technical, just steep hills. And I just tried to idle up them as slow as I could, and the 410 gearing, I'm so glad I done that. I think that was the best thing I've done out of it all. The LSD, looking back at the videos now, you can definitely see it makes a difference compared to what it used to. I still had traction control mode too, but the 410 gearing, it's not a full low range, but it does help and it does make a massive difference, especially with that ZF first gear already being low. So yeah, I'm really happy. Still need to get a few things just dialed in, and I reckon it'll be a very capable car for what it is after that. And then it's just, yeah, not this weekend. This weekend I'm going to do the SX. I've got to change a gearbox and a few other little things, get it ready for Cape, so that's a peace of mind. And then weekend after I'm going to start fitting the wheels and bull bar and winch and gen in from Always All-Wheel Drives coming up. And yeah, we're going to do a few things with his car as well. But also got to thank DJ, because the bolts and stuff that I had for the tail shaft, the littler ones, I lost mine when I pulled those tail shafts out of God knows what car, and he sent me up some other ones, the right size ones, and they come super quick like always with his stuff. And yeah, so I got to say thanks to DJ for them. And yeah, next video will be cutting up, and I'm going to do a proper video on the 410s as well. So I've got some before and after, the different revs, all that sort of stuff. Just yeah, so stay tuned for the proper 410 video, but I think you'll be pretty amazed with the difference.